Welcome everyone, it's Gray Shirt Guy and Rock the Gray Shirt as always. Back with another studio update. Is the 18th of June, and we got a lot of things going on. A lot of things have happened since the last video, and we don't have a lot of time. Probably the last studio update for several months. I'm going to have to go on a hiatus, at least high quality long form studio updates. I might throw something together while we're in the transitioning period. So essentially, I got the pre-moving inspection coming up in 5 or 6 days, and then after that, a week later is the actual packing, and then a couple days after that is the actual where the truck will come over and pick all the stuff up. And so I don't have a lot of time left to do any hobbying or anything. I did a lot of work yesterday, and we'll show you those models. But before that, big news, obviously. I got married about 10 days ago. I got married on the 8th of June, and it was great. She's lovely, and I miss her. She's not here right now. She had to take care of some family emergency. We'll talk about that a little bit, and I just really miss her. But we got married, and we had already got the marriage certificate a couple weeks prior. And we just went to the courthouse with the Justice of Peace, got that no cost wedding, and because we're in the middle of moving and everything, and we didn't want to delay it any further. We are considering doing an actual really nice, more elaborate wedding ceremony after the move is all done and the houses are all sold and all that's squared away. Either we're going to do a really nice wedding or we're just going to go on a really nice honeymoon. But for now, we're just married, just living up the life. But so why is my wife not here? That is such a new word to say. I've been saying fiance for so long, but why is my wife not here? Well, unfortunately, the day we got married. So right now, all of her, she has 2 cats, and she had 2 cats. And a service dog. And you'll probably at some point see the service dog running around. Not in this video, but in future videos. And the cats were staying with a friend's house, and unfortunately, one of them got out. And so, pretty much that next day after we got married, we found out that the cat had run away. And so, we were already planning on flying back to go get her truck. And then drive it back here because a lot of her stuff everything is in the other state. And so we're like, all right, well, you fly out a couple days early, go help look for your cat, and then I'll meet you on Monday. Well, unfortunately, right before we went to the airport, found out that the cat had been hit by a car. So she was super distraught, got her to the airport, got her on the plane. She got there. She was able to get to the veterinary emergency room before the pet passed away, and his name was Pop. It was a very cute, adorable kitty, and it's about 5 or 6 years old. But unfortunately, it passed away. But she was able to hold his paw and hold him the entire time. That's one of the things is if you are a pet owner. And unfortunately, she works in veterinary medicine, and a lot of pet owners, when their animals have to be put down, they will leave the room. They won't stay in the room because it's too hard. But that's not how we play in this family. If an animal has to be put down, you are there the whole time. So either way, she was there, and then I was still set to go out there that Monday. Had the plane tickets, everything squared away. Sunday morning, pretty much like Sunday or like Saturday night, Sunday morning, she called me and asked me if she could take a week to 2 weeks to rehome her other cat instead of having to bring the cat over here, get it used to this house for a month, and then take it all the way over to the East Coast. She felt it was probably better to try to rehome the cat where it was. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, we still have time before the pre-inspection, and we have time for all the movers and everything, and then we have time, so it's not that big of a deal. And it gives me a little bit more time to paint. So, cut my vacation, went back to work, been painting for the last week or so, when I had free time, and I spent 15 hours yesterday getting some painting done because I was really, really, really trying to get these Blood Ravens done by the end of the month because I wanted Blood Ravens to be finished by the 1st of July. But with the sudden, but I had made that challenge like right before I found out I was moving, or right after I found out I think I made it right after I found out I was moving, but I didn't realize the dates until probably last week. I realized when the movers were showing up and when everything was happening. And so by the time all the dates have been squared away, I'm like, man, I got to pack out way sooner than I needed to. And by packing out, I mean, like, I want to make sure that all my Warhammer models are packed by me. I don't want some moving company just throwing them in a box. I want to very nicely, very carefully pack them away, and that's going to take a few days, so I don't have a lot of time to paint. Not to mention, I kind of want to put all my hobby stuff in nice Ziploc bags and pack them away in boxes and stuff. So I kind of want to pre-pack a little bit before the movers come. As far as like furniture, they can disassemble the furniture and pack that. That's fine. But when it comes to like the hobby stuff, I do want that to be organized, and so it does require a little bit more time. So I don't have as much time to paint the Blood Ravens. So unfortunately, I will not be finishing that army before the 1st of July. But I was still trying to get certain models done, and so yeah, we'll flip over to a different feed. I'm gonna go over to the table and show you what I've done so far, and yeah. All right, over on the table, this is about as good as the lighting is going to get. Unfortunately, all my other studio lights have been packed away already and disassembled. So this is what we got here. This is what I've done so far with the Blood Ravens. The promo model on the right, the little sergeant fighting the Necrons, I painted that about a year ago when I decided I was going to do Blood Ravens. And so he's kind of a test model, and he's looking pretty nice. We got a squad of Vanguard vets with jump packs in the front. Unfortunately, the loadouts that they're equipped with is not currently legal with the way the rules are. So if I play with them, they're going to be heirloom weapon plus bolt pistol, which is fine. But hopefully, when the actual Space Marine Codex launches very soon, because the Codex should be out in I don't know. The roadmap from GW is like maybe a month or two. We should get the first 2 codexes, which is Tyranids and Space Marines. So hopefully when we get an actual codex, we'll be able to equip our Vanguard veterans with the stuff that comes in the box. But aside from that, we have a Sicaran Omega, which is unfortunately going to be Legends. Right after I bought it and decided what army I wanted to use with it, which was the Blood Ravens, they made it a Legends. Can I still use the Horus Heresy? Yes, I have an Alpha Legion army. And so my plan is at some point to get some Alpha Legion transfers and put one somewhere on that tank and do some chipping and some stuff. But right now it's painted. It's good to go. And I'll just play with the Legends rules. It'll be fine. We have a Repulsor Executioner. I've had this model forever, for probably 2.5 years. Just sitting sub-assembled. Finally got it painted, finally got it on the tabletop, and it's looking pretty nice. I enjoyed painting the Repulsor Executioner. Now, the thing about the Blood Ravens is the scheme is very few colors, and there's a lot of details that I could have picked out, but for the time I have and for how I want the quality of the army to look, it turned out really well. I think there's a lot of time spent in the cream bone color, but aside from that, the vehicles are pretty well, I would say they're tabletop to tabletop plus, battle ready standard probably, and I like how they turned out. Could I have been a little more intricate in some of the details? Of course I could have, but for time, I think they turned out pretty well. We have 3 Predators, I think 2 Destructor and 1 Annihilators. These 3 are what I spent doing all day yesterday. So I woke up in the morning really early, probably 4:30, 5 o'clock. Woke up, and there was no paint on these at all except for the red primer, or the red base coat. Yeah, base coat. And yeah, we got those all knocked out. And I named the front of them. Let me zoom in real quick. So each one of the little, what do they call it, the little parchments or whatever on the front of each tank is actually named after every cat that I've ever had. And now what we're going to do after we move and we get back to paying the Sisters of Battle is we're going to scribe on all of the rhinos that we're going to get, because we're probably going to get 2 more. Well, we have 1 rhino now. We're probably going to get 2 more. We're going to be scribing all the names of my wife's pets that she has had or has lost. And so Dante in the back, he was the first cat I had growing up. And unfortunately, he passed away shortly after I left home. Now Lily, I have Lily and Onyx right now. I've had Onyx for a very long time, and so Lily's very young. Onyx is about 14. He's kind of old. He doesn't act old though, except for he kind of growls at me. Aside from that, I was trying to get knocked out a Redemptor Dreadnought, but after painting for 15 hours yesterday, I was exhausted today, and I mostly just did chores. I just cleaned the house and cooked and. Not intentionally avoided painting, but I was just like kind of drained out. And all I have right now, and then as I was painting the Redemptor Dreadnought, I dropped it, and it broke off its base. The model's fine, nothing's wrong with that, but the base was empty, and I was like, oh, I might as well use this as an excuse to put texture paste on the base. So the texture paste has to dry. Once that dries, we will finish the Redemptor tomorrow. And after that, we have 5 character models. We have a Primaris Captain, a Primaris Apothecary, and 3 Blade Guard veterans. Everything else in the army is not sub-assembled. Everything else in the army will be painted after I move and get all set up and squared away. So I basically just have the last of the Redemptor and the other 5 models, and I have tomorrow and Tuesday to paint, and yeah. And then that's it. Then we're packing everything up. I'm going to go buy... I have a bunch of foam carrying cases, but I have more models than I have carrying cases. So we're going to do... we're going to use Tupperware containers, big, large Tupperware containers, and a lot of bubble wrap, a lot of foam, and a lot of painter's tape. We are going to lose. We are going to break some models. That's inevitable. It's going to happen. And we're going to fix them when we get moved in and settled in. So, but these are what we've done so far. And yeah, let's get back over to the disc. All right, hope you enjoyed that model showcase. Let's see, let's talk about 10th edition for a little bit. Let's talk about some ideas and some lists and some just kind of what the vibe is I've been seeing. I'm interested. I like that the indexes and everything were free. I like I didn't have to buy an index book like I did last time they did this. The war gear is pretty interesting, where all war gear is free. That sort of makes it to where you're like, well, I'm always just going to pick the best gun. I'm not going to pick I'm not going to be forced to pick the weaker option based upon points. I think the points will come as the codexes are released. Because if you haven't seen, it's on the Warhammer community, but there is a roadmap for as the codexes will come out. So that'll probably sort itself out there. Or they're just going to try to balance everything to be pretty decent. Melta got hit really hard. I think Meltas will have a place. But las cannons are pretty good now. Land Raiders, I really like the fact that the big vehicles are back. I'm really enjoying that. Let's see. Guard and Direct is overpowered. Eldar are oppressive. Tau are too weak. Death Guard are too weak. Let's see. Necrons have a lot of good options now, but now they're so spoiled for choice. Let's see. What else have I heard? GSC, basically, for a 2,000 point list, if you take mostly Battle Line, you get 3,000 points worth of models. That's mostly the big hurdles I've heard about. Chaos Space Marines look pretty good if you take Abaddon and a brick of 10. Terminators look pretty nice, which is funny because I have 10 Terminators that aren't assembled. World Eaters look pretty good. They're not too terribly changed, which makes sense. But once Forge Roll drops, we'll get a little bit better idea of certain armies. Like our Custodian's going to get better with Forge World. Are there any Forge World Guard vehicles that will be even usable? hopefully because of them cutting a lot of things into Legends, hopefully the remaining Forge World stuff will be usable. I'm actually really curious to see Titans, like Warhound Titans and Reaver Titans. What is the point spread going to be on those vehicles? Because in the past, Warhound Titans have been 2,000 points. And I understand that because the idea is that you don't want to see a bunch of Titans in your competitive tournaments. And so if you they made a rule where every Imperium army can take one Imperial Titan. And so the idea is that if a Titan is under 2,000 points, then you might bring a Warhound Titan to a tournament. And a single Warhound Titan in a tournament isn't going to really win. I mean, it might kill some cool stuff, but it's not really going to win because it can't really capture objectives very well. At least in the past. If they make the Warhound Titan or any of the other Titans cheaper, that will be interesting. I'll be watching this because I want to see the first official tournament where somebody brings like 2 Warhound Titans. Like, let's say they drop them from 2,000 points to 800 points. I think that'd be kind of cute. But aside from that, I'm waiting for Forge World. I kind of want to see what's going on. But I have been putting some lists together. So let's take a gander at that. So I haven't gotten all of my lists built up yet. So this is my Blood Ravens. This is my entire list of Blood Ravens. Blade Guard Veterans, Devastators, all the drop pods, all the models together. So the whole Blood Ravens collection is 3,750 points minus the Sakaran Omega, which I don't know what its points are going to be. But yeah, looking pretty decent. Next size collection we got going on there. Pretty much every model I get in the future that is Space Marine is going to go into the Blood Ravens. The Atlantean Spears will need a couple models, but I'm hoping to get some. So the Atlantean Spears are Primaris only. Ish. And I'm hoping to get some. I mean, I could get some newer Terminators, but they're a little bit higher points. I could throw a Death Guard Intercessor squad in there. That might be fun, just to kind of like round out the points. But we'll see where the Astraeus lands. But anyway, so throwing some good points together. So Blood Ravens looking good. Mordian Iron Guard. This is if you watched the battle report last year, the stop motion battle report. The army that I brought was this. So it had a platoon off. It had a senior officer, which is now a Castellan. It had a commissar, 3 infantry squads, a regimental overseer. It had a shadow sword, 2 tank commanders, and 3 wyverns. And I think that might be all. No, it had a what do they call that thing? It had a Thunderbolt, so it had a proxy Thunderbolt. So I made a kit bashed. I took an Eldar jet and kit bashed all the Thunderbolt parts onto it, which was more expensive than buying a Thunderbolt, but I didn't want to order a Thunderbolt specifically because it didn't fit the style I was going for with that army. So the Mordian Iron Guard is missing that, which that probably is not Legends. I'm hoping that the Thunderbolt stays in a usable model that you can take, because it is definitely, although they have them in the 30K, it still has a prominent place for close air support, like direct direct close air support for ground targets. So I'm hoping that the Thunderbolt for Forge World shows up. We don't have any points for it, but 15-15, meaning I still have lots of room in the Mordian Iron Guard. Now, my infantry models from the Mordian Iron Guard came from Victoria Miniatures. So if I want to expand this army, if I want to expand it with legal models, that's one thing. I'd have to buy a lot more the new Cadian shock troopers and turn them into infantry squads and things like that. But I think for the Mordian Iron Guard, I'm going to stick with third-party figures because I wouldn't take the Mordian Iron Guard. That's more of a, to me, so I have 10 different guard regiments. And if I wanted to bring an army to an actual tournament that's guard, I have enough legal models to throw together an army paint it coherently, and then play with that. But I really enjoy having like all the different regiments throughout time and having separate armies. So I could expand this list, but I'm gonna wait. I have so many guard models that aren't assembled or painted, mostly assembled, but they're not painted. So, but this is where the Mordinian Guard are sitting from that battle report that you saw last year. World Eaters, my whole collection of World Eaters. So unfortunately, because the Decimators are going legends, they're not on the list right now, and but I would still play them in a fun game, like a home game. I really like some glow ups on these. I love the Rhinos because they went from carrying capacity 10 to carrying capacity 12, which means now I can take my full Khorne Berserker squads. Because I was having to take one Khorne Berserker out to fit Karn and to fit the Master of Executions, but now I don't have to. So now I can just put 3 Rhinos, 30 Khorne Berserkers, put Karn in one, and Master of Executions in the other, and we're off to the races. And now, unfortunately with this list, basically I have to either take out Angron or take out or the Lord of Skulls in order to play with it. Which is fine, because then we get down to 1995 or 1990 points. If I take either one of those out, probably the Lord of Skulls, and because Angron's just too good. So that's probably how it would be. But maybe for a fun game, I might just take out. But yeah, we're pretty good on the World Eaters. I don't think there's anything that I want to change with the World Eaters. I know that the Predator Destructors are not typically considered a World Eaters model, and I have no 8-bound. I have no desire to put in 8-bound. I do not like the model. I would rather put a brick of 5. I could see putting 5 Terminators and a Land Raider in this army. Points wise, I don't think that would. I think I'd have to take way more out than just Predator Destructor, but I would much rather put Terminators than the 8-bound, and even if the 8-bound are better, I just do not like their models. I put in a Hellbrute in would be kind of cute. Hellbrutes look nice. I could see replacing the 2 Decimators with some Hellbrutes, but for now, I'm gonna. Well, we'll see how the Legends rules for Decimators shake out. Sisters of Battle. So this is my wife's full collection of Sisters of Battle. A lot of changes, though, with the Battle Sisters going to 10-man units and not 5 to 10-man, unless you take an Immolator. Yeah, so you have to take an Immolator to get half-strength squads, because the 5-man have to fit in the 6 troop capacity Immolator, because you can 5-man plus a character. So it's weird that you have to take an Immolator to get 5-man units. I don't know why they did. I understand why they didn't. I understand why they didn't increase the troop capacity of the Immolator to 10 or 12, because then who would take a Rhino? I sort of see that, but it was kind of weird. But yeah, so we do have 2 full 10-man Battle Sister squads. We have the 2 different Canonesses, 1 Castigator, the Sacristans. So we have all of these models, and it comes out to 2,840 points. Now, we're probably going to get 2 more Rhinos. I don't know if we're going to get 2 more Castigators. Retributors went to 5 models. They used to be 5 to 10, and you used to be able to take a bunch of extra bodies to soak up wounds. Not anymore. But I think dropping, and then Repentia having to take the Whip Sister now, the Superior. That's interesting, because I hadn't assembled all the Superiors. I have to actually assemble 1 more Superior. And I have it, so we can assemble it whenever we get around to it. But and then, of course, we have our Knight Errant ally for 375. So Sisters of Battle looking pretty good. Can't wait to get moved, get settled in, and get this army painted. And then get some games together. I think this will be pretty fun. I don't know anything about the army's rules, but the models look good, and if the models look good, we'll have fun playing with them. Not a problem at all. All right, so this is a list that I just kind of threw together. So before aircraft were limited to 2 aircraft models in a 2,000 point game for match play, I got this whole Catachan Air Wing idea in 2019. Bought all the models in 2019. got 4 Valkyries, because back then Valkyries were squadron 1 to 3 models. So so what I did is I got 3 infantry squads, because back then you wanted to take 3 troops. So I took 3 infantry squads, took 3 Valkyries, and then I got a 4th Valkyrie for Strachan, and who was it? I had a bunch of characters, and they all fit the Valkyries, because Valkyries have a 12 troop transport. So I would put, So anyways, so I had a big air cav army, and it looked really nice, and I fully painted it, and as soon as I finished painting it, they dropped the balance update because there were too many oppressive flyers. And so they're like, nope, 2 flyer models. And then the codex updated to where each Valkyrie was no longer they had the squadron keyword, but they didn't have squadron anymore. They were unit model count 1. So I couldn't even take 4 Valkyries anyways in open play. Nope, I guess open war I can take whatever I want. But now I can take 3 Valkyries, because you can take 3 of the same data sheet. And they haven't limited it yet. So I kind of like threw this list together. Which I think so a lot of this is mostly models I have. So I have the Armored Sentinels. I have 3 Armored Sentinels, and they all have they have a heavy flamer, the chainsaw, and a 100 killer missile. The Cadian Castellan is basically just because I have all of these platoon commanders, Catachan official platoon commanders, but there's no platoon commander, like just single officer. So you take a Cadian Castellan, because that's all we have at the moment. But I was using them as a stand-in rules. I have 40 Catachans waiting to be assembled. I have a Commissar already painted. I have 3 Hellhounds already painted. So I have 3 infantry squads, but back in the day, infantry squads were, when I built this army, infantry squads were not good at anything other than just taking objectives. So you really typically didn't need to give them any special weapons, because they were going to die on the point anyways. So you wouldn't give them a plasma gun or a melta gun or anything. So what I did for this army is I gave the sergeants power swords and bolt pistols, and each squad had a flamer, and that was it. I didn't give them any other special weapons. But what I'm probably going to do, and they're kind of a mix mash of the older Catachans and the older Cadians, and so I'm probably going to replace those 3 infantry squads with using the more modern shock troops and heavy weapons, but still making infantry squads, because I think the idea of flying them near an objective, disembarking them onto an objective, and then getting the benefit of cover while they sit on the objective, I think that's still a good strategy. Whether they stay there an entire turn, that's a different story. But we got 3 infantry squads. Strachan's going to hang out with the Catachan Jungle Fighters. Sergeant Harker's going to hang out with the Catachan Jungle Fighters. So the Castellan and the Commissar are probably going to go with... Oh, and you have a platoon command squad. The only issue I have with the platoon command squad is if I put the 3 infantry squads in the Valkyries, I can't fit the platoon command squad anywhere. So I was thinking about dropping a Hellhound, throwing in a Kasserkin squad, putting one of the Kasserkins in a Valkyrie, and then have the platoon command squad hang out with one of the infantry squads. That was kind of what I was thinking, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And then this is just like what my Atlantean Spears came out to. So this is my full collection right now, and my full collection of painted Primaris. So Atlanteans. So the way I work this army is I only want to add things to this army that are Primaris or new. And so I could add the Ballistus Dreadnought to it. That won't be a problem. That'd be pretty cool. I think points-wise it's probably a little too high. But right now I could add Primaris Death Company. Because this is a Blood Angels army. It's just using... It's just using Primaris. Because I like the idea of Primaris. Now, I do have the Astraeus, we don't know the points are yet. I do have 3 Leviathan Dreadnoughts that are painted this army, and we don't know what the points are yet. So, but right now, if I wanted to play with this army with all the models I had painted that are still legal, I would have to go and get something that rounds out the last 105 points, which would probably be a Blood Angels, a Primaris Death, like a 5-man Primaris Death Company. So that's like the Atlantean Spears. I do plan on fleshing out all my other lists. I have Destroying Valhalla, Talarn. Now, unfortunately, my Talarn army is... So this is the annoying part. When they change the rules for artillery, I have 6 Basilisks painted for Talarn. You obviously can't take 6, so what do I do with the other 3? And I have 3 Basilisks that were earmarked for the Cadians, and now my Cadian army, that's sort of in the wind at the moment. I still have all the tanks and all the vehicles for it. I only have like 1 squad of infantry for it. So the Cadian army, that's kind of in flux when we're going to get to that. But that's Penal Legion, so it looks pretty nice. But yeah, because I own 9 assembled Basilisks, because you used to be able to take 3 squadrons, 3 squadrons of 3. So I have 9 now. In an Apocalypse game, I'm good to go. So I'll probably still paint them at some point. I would like to, when I get settled in and moved into my next house, I would like to set up an Apocalypse table, which to me is a 6x8. But we could sort of figure out what we want to do. But yeah, let me think about this. Is there really anything else I kind of wanted to touch on? The move, yeah. So, like I said, let me close this down. So, probably the last studio update. Sorry, really tired. And that's mostly just because I got the pre-inspection coming. I want to have some things pre-packed as soon as possible. So I'm going to paint tomorrow and probably paint Tuesday. But Thursday, I'm probably going to go get, because I'm flying out Wednesday. I'm coming back Wednesday, Thursday. But Thursday and Friday and the weekend, I'm going to start packing away. Yeah, pretty much spending the whole weekend just like packing away. And the reason for that is when the movers do come to start taking apart all the furniture and everything, because what they're going to do is, because I have so many things to pack, they're going to come at least 1, maybe 2 days of pre-packing. I want to have all of my Warhammer models bubble wrapped and in crates, and then just be like, here you go, ready to go, already packed away, already labeled, everything good to go. And then same thing with my computers and my 3D printers, all the magic cards that I have, all the sealed boxes of magic that I have. So there's a lot of things I want pre-packing, and there's some things that yeah. So obviously important documents, I want to have those set aside. Things that I don't want the movers to pack or touch. Those are things that, luckily, I'm not moving any appliances. That's good. I'm going to sell my house with the appliances already in it. I'm going to leave the washer and dryer here, refrigerator, everything else is staying here. But a lot of stuff is going to get packed. Now, not everything is going to get packed, because a lot of it I am going to be taking with us, filling up our vehicle. And but that whatever, I do want to make sure things are already kind of ready, so the movers are like, oh, okay, all right. It's a lot easier on them if there's less things for them to take down. Now, once all the TVs are gone and the monitors are gone and the computers are gone, the house is going to be super empty. We're probably just going to be getting a lot of Subway, eating off paper plates and stuff like that. I don't even think we might keep 1 pan and 1 pot or something like that. Might keep some groceries, or might keep a couple cooking utensils because we can throw those in the car. But probably gonna eat a lot of takeout and things like that. That'll be fine. It won't be that big of a deal. But we'll be in here for a couple weeks while I show my house for sale. But I'm gonna try to camp out in one room. And obviously, when you're showing your house for sale, you don't really want to. You're not supposed to be in the house when they're showing the house, because it's kind of awkward if someone's trying to like buy your house but they can't see a whole room. So we have plans for all that, and yeah. But that's the move, and then I have to move to the East Coast. And when I bought my house here, my interest rate was really low. It was right before COVID. The inventory around here was pretty decent. It was I think it was a buyer's market at the time, and so I was able to get into my house at a really affordable rate. My interest rate was really good, and then after that, the pandemic happened, and then everything became a seller's market. Now I could have sold this house for way more than I paid for it. I am still right now. The house is still marketed pretty high. Not nearly as high as it was at the peak. Like, I think at one point I had like an offer that was like 180,000. Like, I didn't get an actual offer for this house, but I had seen an offer, like the mail pamphlets. They were like, "Oh, your house is worth $180,000 more than you paid for it." And I'm like, no way is this house worth $180,000 more than I paid for it. Not to mention I didn't want to move and I didn't want to sell it. So glad I didn't do that. Glad I didn't jump on that. Yeah. So and like right now the market's pretty good, and should be able to sell my house relatively quickly, at least per my realtor. Now where we're moving to, the inventory there is a little bit smaller. Now there are still plenty of houses in the area for us to be able to find one. But are we going to find a perfect house? Probably not. Are we going to find a house that meets our requirements? That's the plan. The plan is to find a house that meets our space requirements and isn't too expensive. So I think we'll be okay. We might have to rent an apartment for a month or two, but I think we'll be all right. So I think that kind of rounds it out. I miss my wife. I go pick her up in a couple. Hold on, let's see what it is. Monday, Tuesday. So 3 days. I go pick her up in 3 days. That'll be nice. But aside from that, I think that's it. I think I'm gonna edit this video, throw it all together, and put it up on the channel. Anyways, if you like my content, feel free to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. If you're gonna get Leviathan, what chapter are you going to put your models in? Because I'm probably... So I have Blood Angels, I have Space Wolves, and I have Blood Ravens. Blood Ravens are my regular Space Marines. I probably am not going to expand my Space Wolves much. I think for Space Wolves, I think the most I'll ever do is add 1 or 2 more things. But I think my Space Wolves are pretty much done, which is fine. You can have an army and be like, nah, I don't want anything to it. Because like Space Wolves don't compel me as much as they do have great lore, and I think their characters are kind of where they shine. But yeah, they don't wow me as much as other armies. So yeah, anyways, back to what I was talking about. So if you want to support me, feel free, hit the like button, leave a comment down below, and yeah, let me know what you're going to be using your Leviathan box for if you're going to get one. Yeah, it'll be Blood Ravens if I get one. As far as the Terminators, the Tyranids, I haven't fully decided on a color scheme, but there was some pretty good black and red one, but that's a little too close to the Blood Ravens, so I'll have to figure out what we're going to do with that. Aside from that, I hope you guys have a great one. If you want to support me also, there is a link below to buy my novel. It's like 99 cents on ebook. It's a few bucks more on paperback, but that's just mostly the cost of printing the book. So aside from that, I hope you guys have a great one, and I will see you when I see you. Have a good one. Goodbye.